Hi, John.
Kat.
Oh,
it's a first. It's a first. It's never happened before. We both. Now, I don't even know where to go from here.
I don't
Kat.
either.
What do we do?
How are you, John?
How are you, Kat? No,
Yep.
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I am great. Thank
Good.
you. How are
Good.
you?
I'm great. How are you, Kat? Today, how are you?
Terrible, John. What are we? Kidding. What are we doing here?
Making a mess, Kat,
Yes.
is what we're doing.
So far,
but while we're doing that,
yes.
we're doing it on a podcast.
Well, that sounds like
Ostensibly.
fun.
Yeah.
What do we call the podcast?
The podcast, we call it, well, what we call it in private is different, but what we call it out in public is My Mistake.
Oh, that's catchy.
Yeah, it's the My Mistake podcast.
What happens on this podcast?
Well, traditionally, when it first started out, when it was just a little baby podcast, it would be you, Kat, and I, John, telling each other about the worst mistakes that we've made in our lives.
Yes, I remember that.
And, yeah, I remember that too. It was quaint and cute.
Yeah.
We were just little baby podcasters,
That's right.
and now we're all grown up, and now we have like other people on to tell us about their mistakes, and then sometimes we do a hysterical mistake, which is what we like to call a historical mistake. And we tell a story about something that happened in history that was bad or dumb or something, In any case, which kind are we doing today, Kat?
Well, John, if I am not mistaken,
Oh, but you are.
you like that?
Always.
We have a very special guest on today's podcast. Yeah.
We do. And and I would like to introduce him. His
Please.
name is Brett Radin.
Very special.
Very special.
Very special.
In every sense of that word.
Yes.
Yes. And Brett is a talent manager. He has worked with some names that I'm sure many of you would know, but I'm going to let him drop those if he wishes to, if he chooses to. But in general, the reason we're having you on, Brett, is because you're an interesting cat. And, Cat's an interesting cat. You're an interesting dude.
Interesting dude, cat, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Cat named dude and dude named cat.
Yeah.
So we're just, I wanted to have you on to because you are a bit of a raconteur, I think, from experience that I've had, hearing you expound upon past experiences, and hoped you could share that with our mistakers.
Yeah. Thank you, John. You and I have become good friends quickly. And I was excited to hear about this. You had shared some podcasts with me. I thought they were amazing, and thought maybe I got a story too. Maybe I don't. I'll tell you this. The biggest mistake I've learned off the bat was asking my family to help me with stories about the mistakes. That just turned into people were crying, things were thrown.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the whole family did like a FaceTime to help go through my life mistakes because I really wasn't sure. I didn't want it to be drug stories or cops or like some classic youth mistakes. I was trying to really find something.
You've just described half of our repertoire.
Well, those are good. Those are fine. But I was trying to not be deemed in that warfare, I guess.
Got
You're
it.
going to set yourself apart from the pack.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe.
All right.
Yeah. So thank you for having me. I am honored. Yeah.
The honor is all of ours.
Indeed.
Yeah, let's do it. Show me the way. Show me the way.
All right.
Kat and John.
Since you had this whole conference with the family, you did decide on a story or stories that you want to tell?
I mean, there were a lot of things, are they mistakes? I don't know. I guess I realized I was not that great of a brother growing up, and I was kind of I don't know.
I mean, I'm sorry that our show is the thing that had to bring that to light for you, but we do take a lot of pride in we move on and we grow.
Yeah.
It's like therapy.
Yeah. Exactly.
It definitely was like therapy, and they were more than happy to share a lot of things. I'm not kidding. It was like a 2-hour call, and they didn't want it to end. I was like, I think I got it. I got plenty.
Wow.
But still, we didn't hit on what were the mistake, like really the theme, and why I really love what you guys are doing on here. I think it's really interesting to try to think back and mistakes, what I learned from that really maybe that life-changing moment where you maybe went the other way because of past regrets or
sure.
mistakes, obviously. So
yeah.
So I have a few, obviously, because I didn't know if I needed 1 or 12 or 3, but
You know what? Sometimes you think it's a small one, it turns into a big one. Sometimes you need a couple. It's always good to have some auxiliary on hand.
Okay, good. Fair enough. Well, then really I guess the story I would tell doesn't have much to do with my family. So after all that build up, all of that, not going to deliver that.
Totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Not going to deliver. Mm-hmm. But I guess just kind of roll into.
Let us have it
in the beginning.
Yeah, set the scene.
All right. So growing up, turning 18, 19, 20, I moved into New York City, and that's when I first started managing bands. My first band, there was a quaint little club on the Lower East Side where bands like Blues Traveler, Spin Doctor started. That's the scene I was originally in. And there was a band playing there one night, an amazing funk band called The Authority. Absolutely unbelievable. And I started managing that band, meeting a lot of people in the scene, eventually meeting my girlfriend. Being 19, maybe sometimes, you do the wrong thing, you do the right thing, but I didn't really have a driver's license. And being in New York City, usually I don't think that was like a problem, right? You're in the city, you can get anywhere.
Sure.
But sometimes you want to get out of the city. I did have a car. So me and my girlfriend decided to travel up to Boston and in my little CRX. And this car was such a piece. I mean, the windows were blown out. It was really, I can't believe it made it up and back. Anyways, we're going up. We stay in Boston a night or two. We're coming back. And, again, I think at that age, you just forget what speed limits are. And again, we're talking, it was like 1989, 1990. So a freer society. There's no phones. It's just a freer way of living. You're not really attached to much except it's just the radio. Right.
Yeah. There's suggestions on a sign. Right.
Exactly. So, speeding through Boston, I get back to New York. I get pulled over, and a cop comes out and, can I see your license? And I'm like, well, officer, I don't have it on me. And he said, okay, step out of the car. So also I should say going into this that there might have been some drugs in the car as well.
What?
Maybe. I mean, there's a possibility.
Someone else's drugs?
Somebody else's. I don't. Right. Yeah.
Got it.
We weren't doing drugs driving. I'll say that, but it was present, and they were of the harder variety. So now I'm driving with a license, speeding. My windows are busted. There's drugs. So, the cop basically is like, all right, buddy. He's like, get out of the car. So I get out. He's like, what do you mean you're on a license? I'm like, I'm coming up with something in my head. I'm like, the windows, my car just got broken into. The windows are busted. They took everything, my wallet, everything. All I had was one bag. All right, he says, open up the trunk. I open up the trunk, and this band I was telling you about, The Authority, the name is ironic because they were obviously against police brutality, obviously.
As many bands.
Yes, as many bands were, especially back then in late 80s, early 90s. But the logo was a cop reaching and grabbing a kid. So I just kind of spin it, and he said, "What's this?" I said, "Oh, I manage a band. We're about the police. We're about like police and like they're right. Be on the right side." I'm like, "You see that cop right there? He's grabbing the kid. That kid's up to no good." So I don't know, man. Maybe Massachusetts has some dumb cops, but this guy let a 19-year-old with no license, didn't check the car, busted windows, just basically free to go. Take it easy. Like he said.
I'm going to say if you had just like a dollop of melanin in you, any one of those things would have gotten you busted.
Yeah.
Oh, so many ways to go here,
Yeah.
And I guess really what that did for the first time in my life, man, I've never felt more lucky. I feel like I'm a very lucky person generally.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things come into my life, and I feel lucky for those things. But this was by far the luckiest thing, especially up to that point. And now again, looking back. So this was a big moment in my life where, I really never did drugs again from that moment, and really kind of cleaned up. And not that this is about cleaning up or right or wrong, but for me, my choice, this was a huge mistake. My life could have really gone the other way. And obviously.
So this caused you to reevaluate?
100% it did. And it's funny because just maybe a month ago or so, I hadn't spoken to this ex-girlfriend of mine. Obviously, I was 19, so it's 30 years. But we happened to reconnect. I can't remember what it was. I'm not on too much social media. So however it was. But we were talking about this story, and it was really serendipitous, John, that like a week or so after, you're like, hey, So
nice.
Even though it was in the craw, I still had to bypass all the family shit, kind of go around the back, and then like release this story. But yeah, definitely a life-changing moment, an absolute horrible mistake, and just not really thinking. And that one moment put me on the straight and narrow for quite some time, I have to say. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. Now, was your girlfriend with you when that happened?
She was with me. Yes. In the car,
was
obviously.
She having heart attacks?
I don't know. There's something about not feeling, I don't know, like the morality of being young, maybe, and you just don't, you feel like nothing can happen really. I don't know. Something took over my body, possessed me to get out of whatever that situation was, and just pray to get back to New York City safely, and just right there, just really big. If I can just get back, I swear. I'm not a religious man. I'm not a faith-based man, but this could have changed my mind. I'll tell you that.
I'm going to say talking yourself out of trouble is not an insignificant part of probably being a manager. Talking your talent out of trouble, talking your talent into something good. This is you clearly have the gift of gab.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, maybe that was a catalyst more into this career. Yeah. Maybe just being able to solve on the go, I guess, right? That's kind of what it is. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that was a close one.
So that was a close one. And I think if you look deep, you'll still find some kind of warrant or something. I did get a ticket because I was doing like 90 miles an hour. I got a ticket for speeding, even though
but they couldn't even tie it to you because you had no identification.
Correct. I just had to give him my name. That was it. I guess I could have gave him, John Smith or whatever, or John Fitzgerald or.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, my name was there. I didn't mind getting the ticket. I thought the worst thing would be, I guess, thinking back, like. Giving them the false name and then really them having kind of to come after me. I mean, my license plate was there, the license plate.
Right.
But they didn't have all those metrics in the cop cars back then where they can go into the computer. That just didn't really exist. So it was a little bit, like I said, it was a more lenient time, I guess,
Yeah. Reminds me of the Blues Brothers. It got SCMODs.
It got SCMODs.
SCMODs. That was the in-car computer.
Amazing.
Which was like, which seemed like the future. Back then.
Yeah, I do remember that. That's one of my favorite movies. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Excellent movie.
Can't hate that movie.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what else you got for us, man?
So, all right. Well, I'll tell a very quick. Now, look, I'm going to need a judge and jury in this. So maybe you guys can help me. Every time I tell the story, I ask for impartial. Please be impartial. And tell me what you think. This is going to seem ridiculous to you, but this was a real thing. I didn't talk to my sister for almost 5 years because of a Scrabble game.
Whoa. Really?
Hey, sometimes it gets real.
It got real. It definitely got real. Real. So, it was for the championship, obviously. So,
okay. Well, that makes sense.
I mean, yeah.
Should have led with that.
The championship of you and your sister?
The championship of me and my sister in Florida visiting my mom. It was the championship for whatever reason. When with your siblings, you play a bunch of games. All right, this is the one. Whoever wins this one is the champion.
Right.
Okay, that's like a sibling. Yeah.
For sure.
It totally is a sibling thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So, we're fairly good at Scrabble, as I'm sure you guys are as well.
Well, yeah, because you're in the championship, so obviously you're good.
The championship, I didn't suck.
You made it through regionals, all the way to state, up to the championship.
Yeah,
these were national. We went to nationals, yeah. So
nice.
Listen, obviously, there's a rule in Scrabble where if you play a word and someone challenges that word, you get the dictionary. If it's not in the dictionary, it comes off the board, and that person loses their turn. Everyone knows this rule. Classic.
Everybody.
Okay, so. There's not a lot of letters left. We're at the end of the game. We're near the end. It's tight. Okay. My sister decides to play the word quib. Quib.
Okay. Not a word.
Not a word. Not only do I know it's not a word now, but now I tried to type it into my notes, and there's like those little red dots underneath it saying not a fucking word.
Not a word.
Not a word. So, but I don't know. I'm 19. Maybe quib is a word. I don't know. My sister's smart. So I don't challenge it. It's not putting me that behind in the game.
Okay.
I don't challenge the word. But then on the next turn, I pluralize it. And then she challenges me, knowing that it's not a word.
Is your sister an attorney?
She should be an attorney. My sister she's just so much smarter than me. That's my kind of move. She pulled my move on me. So
that's the greatest bluff ever.
So I said, okay, fine. Let's just take the word off the board. Take your letters back. I'll put this back. I don't want a bad word on the board. We know it's not a word. And she said, no, you didn't challenge the original word. I challenge yours. Your word goes. This started this started a huge rift in the game in our life for years. So you guys are travel players, you're game players, you're game theorists.
Right.
I mean, is she right? Am I right? Should there be a bad word on the board? Are the rules the rules? I didn't challenge, so the word stays. I mean, where do you go? I mean, I'm curious on your thoughts.
I'm going to let Kat lead on this one. I want to hear her opinion.
Well, I mean, I hate to say this, Brett.
Yes.
You didn't challenge the
I'm
word.
wrong. I am wrong.
She got away with it. She got away with it. And then she threw it back in your face. I don't think she doesn't sound cool. I don't think it's a cool thing to do.
It's not a cool move.
No, it's not a cool move, but I feel like it's within the rules.
It is in the rules. She used the rules against me. Absolutely.
She did.
Yes, she is correct. Right. John?
John.
Yeah. All right. I would love to contrast with this, but I really can't because I have a niece and a nephew, and they are gamers, and I mean that like they're not so much video gamers. They're gamers. They play tabletop games. They play like RPGs, like all this kind of thing. And when I play with them, I know they're going to use every rule they can to win. And they would love this story, and I'm going to make them listen to it because it is like she was totally in the right, and she was a jerk for doing it.
She was absolutely in the right, and it was yes, correct. There was no gamesmanship in that, but also amazing gamesmanship, like unbelievable. Like what just happened?
So
how did this escalate? Exactly. It was just you felt wronged?
Well, yeah. So I'm 19. Yeah. My sister was either 17 or 18. So, youth, we grew up, tight, always, fighting with one another. We love each other dearly, but very much fighting growing up. And this was, I think, just the pinnacle. Parents just got divorced. You can put all that stuff in what was me? Yeah, you can put all that into the basket there. And maybe I should have just given her the win and been the good big brother, but no, I didn't feel like she was right. So it really escalated into, that name call, and I definitely lost, my relationship with my sister for I thought it was 2 years. She says it's 5 years.
Wow.
I'm going to believe her just because,
This time, just let her have it.
Just let her have it. You're absolutely right.
Did somebody like the table gets up over like anybody dramatic sort of?
No violence, not a lot of violence. Okay. Yeah, okay. We're soft Jews, very soft Jews. We don't like the violence.
Got it.
But she told me, because we were talking about the story, and she told me, you called me 5 years later and you apologized. It took you 5 years and you apologized to me. And I'm like, really? That does not sound like me. But again, I've got to give it to you because I don't want any. I don't want another 5 years happen.
No, definitely not. I'm glad that you apparently in a stupor where you would make no memories of it. You called your sister and you apologized.
I apologized. Yeah. I told her I was proud of her. She just landed a big job, and so
that's nice.
See, so there you go. So
and so this is one of the things that was discussed in the family conference.
This was definitely one of the things that was discussed, and I have a younger sister too, and she was just reminding me of a lot of things. I used to use my younger sister as like my minion to like badger my older sister, whether it was knock on her door and run away, stupid kid shit. But, here, wear this mask and hide in the closet. And when Robin goes into the room, open up and scream at her. We did that a lot. That was a lot.
I love it.
Yeah. So, just your classic bro sis stuff. But anyways, I'm glad I could tell the story now with a positive repercussion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, this is one of the things we strive for is like Kat has told stories Kat, why don't you tell us what you've told stories that have done what for you? I'm not setting this up well.
Doesn't work for me. Not at all. I don't know. Like I've been able to work through some shit.
Yeah. I mean, we did a 3-part arc that I hope nobody bothers to listen to, just about my marriage and divorce at 23 to 25.
See, I want to know about that stuff. That stuff interests me.
It's all out there. It's called The Chronicle of the Red Flags.
Yeah.
Parts 1 through 3.
Oh my goodness. It's a 3-parter. Is it 3 hours? Is it a trilogy?
Yeah. It's at least 3 hours.
It's at least 3 hours. Yeah. It goes in order. Because the thing is, we definitely strive for the funny, but if we can get to the meat of things too, if we can actually do some good in the world, help somebody work through something, and we started with ourselves to see if that worked, and you can argue whether it did or not, but everybody has to listen before they can argue.
Right, exactly. That's the one little. But no, but I mean, you're right. Listen, it's funny. It's interesting because before we started talking, before we did this, I was thinking, like which way do you go here? I guess you could argue there's two things. There's two mediums. There's comedy or tragedy. Those right. Those are the two things that you can go with. It's really funny or it's like really sad and awful. So, the sad and awful side seemed a little bit, pretentious or more like, I felt when I was kind of thinking about that, I felt like maybe I was like, in my first year philosophy class, like, class number 3, like, hey, who am I? All of that. So right. I thought maybe more, funny, at least to me, funny, interesting stories.
We're never going to turn away the funny.
You never turn away the funny. Yeah.
Never turn away the funny. But we also welcome the tragic or just the straight up informational. But ideally, there's going to be some emotion tied to it somehow.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah. So, okay. Is that the story? Do you dive deeper?
Well, sure. I mean, like if there's depth to be dived,
doven.
You're on your own. No idea. Did you guys really not talk for 5 years, Brett, or was it just a strained relationship?
No, we did not talk for 5 years.
Oh my God,
I know.
That's intense.
It was. Look, maybe it was easy. I was living in New York. I was on my own. She was still just getting out of high school, I guess, or getting into college at that point. So, I was leading my life. So maybe it was a little bit easier than it would have been had I been like 35, where, been like shit, like that, like even 2 weeks is too long,
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, it's that same philosophy, I think, of just not knowing, when you're that young, like how important time is, relationships, And it took me 5 or 6 years to be like, wow, this is really stupid. I miss my sister, and just let the quibs lay where they may, I guess.
I think we know the title of this episode.
Let the quibs lay where they may.
So there was no home for Purim or anything like that, like where you?
Yeah, I wasn't that religious. No Purim. I mean, I get the guys that knock on my door because of where I live, but no Purim. Passover, again, I feel like maybe estranged from my family from like those years where I was just in New York on the road all the time with like bands, just doing this thing and trying to become me instead of, I don't know, not regressing, but I guess maybe, I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah.
No, well, I'm glad that it sounds like you have a much healthier relationship with the whole family now. And,
yes, absolutely. Yeah. No, I my mom, my sisters, I'm very close with them. Obviously, I love them, but it took some getting through.
I guess so.
Well, and that's such a very close age difference growing up. I mean, there's 7 years between my brother and I. He's my closest sibling. He's like almost an adult by the time, I'm like 10 or something. So, but to be that close together, I know that friends and my wife actually, she had 3 years between herself and her 2 younger siblings. they were just constantly going at each other.
Yeah.
It seems like the closer together you are in age, the more friction there is with siblings. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, I think that's true. I don't have brothers to see if it was like maybe it was a brother-sister thing or whatever it was. But, we grew up in a very competitive family. My father was, Marine. He was a straight A student. It was like, and if you didn't bring it coming home, you felt it. And I think that once he was maybe out of the picture, I think some hair was let down, and who knows? Maybe the quibs was the result of all of that together. Wow, I don't think it's that epic, but I think that that I could make it that way if I want.
It's not a quibble. It's bigger than that.
It's not a squabble. It's not a quibble.
It's not a squabble. But the difference is squab is a word.
Squab
Quib
is a word.
Not. Yeah.
I mean, it's only a 19-year-old brain. She's smarter than me, so I have to keep saying that. She knew exactly what she was doing. She probably counted the S's on the board because you could count them. You get 4. She's like, "There's only 3. There's no letters left." Brett has an S. Yeah, I mean, that's how
she's calculating outs.
Yeah.
She's like figuring. Yeah, that's crazy. See, I've never been that smart.
Yeah.
Right? I'm lucky if I can think one move ahead, let alone 2.
So that's why it was the championship. This game meant everything to me, and I was not letting it go down. I was the underdog, okay? I was the underdog.
You're the hero in this story.
I mean, all sympathy can be sent to. No. Yeah. So that's,
awesome.
those are 2 fun stories that I don't really think I've told in quite some time, especially the car story. But obviously, the other one's pretty, it's a personal family story. But I'm glad everyone will know about it now. And
I mean, we have millions of listeners, Brett.
Yeah, millions. Yeah.
The mistaker army is strong.
Look, I just want people, if they can, to be able to voice in who they think was right and wrong on the quibs and put this to rest for once. Put it to rest.
Love it. I love it. And they can do that. Where could someone do that if they wanted to write in?
I mean, they could send an email to mymistakepodcast@gmail.com.
They could do that. They could make a post on our Facebook page, which is My Mistake, the podcast. They could conceivably DM us on the Insta or the Gram. I don't know which one's cooler now. Is it better to call it the Insta or the Gram?
Now I think it's just IG.
IG.
I don't
have that much time to say Insta.
Yeah, well, who has time for all those letters?
Kind of I'm in a rush, John.
And there we are just at My Mistake, I believe.
Sure.
And then on the Twitter, if you want to talk to us publicly, if you really want to get your voice out there and make your opinion known on whether quib maybe is a word or should be a word
So interesting point. Let's say enough people get quib to become an actual word. Is this a retroactive victory?
I mean, we have to consider that.
Goes? Do you see what's going to happen here?
Everything just branches into the infinite.
Can we call your sister right now? Should we get her on the phone?
Probably. She knew we were going to talk about this. And she's like, I know you're just going to tell the fun version of the story. You're not going to tell the 5 years of pain that followed. So tell your fun little story. So this is the fun little story.
Well, and of course now what's funny is that now Quibi is like a network, I guess.
Yes, for your phone.
Yes.
It's like just pouring salt into an old wound.
Yes, every time it comes up. It's forced into my phone. It's true.
Yeah, but that would be a proper noun, Kat, so it really wouldn't count.
Thank you for correcting me, John.
Also would not count. No version of quib or quibby counts.
I love it.
It's amazing.
So I don't think I ever actually gave the @mymistake17 is the Twitter handle.
Twitter. Sorry.
It's all good. We love to hear from our mistakers, and who knows, we could maybe reopen this old wound. If enough people were to tell Brett that he was correct, he might decide to re-argue this.
I know I'm not correct, but those of you with siblings out there, you can feel the pain of being correct in that situation. Situationally, it was correct. Game theory, not correct, but
Listen, there are stories I could tell about my sister's 4 years older than I was, than still is, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But like there's so many stories I could tell, but there was one time, like this is an example of, she was in the kitchen. I was in another room of the apartment. My mom was in yet a third room of the apartment. My sister dropped a glass full of orange juice. It smashed on the floor and orange juice went everywhere. And she yelled my name.
And brilliant.
And I was like, I came running like, what? And she's like, you made me spill my orange juice. And I was in the other room. My mom then walks in and I'm standing there and she's standing there. And so now she thinks that I've made her spill the orange juice. My sister, you talk about psychological, able to make plans two steps ahead.
Yeah.
She was great that way.
Yeah.
That's intense. Damn.
I mean, she gets a little bit, you get a little bit more of an out. She's 4 years older, right? I'm the older brother. My younger sister outwitted me. It hurt.
Well, the problem, if you challenge and you're wrong, then you lose your turn. Like, I mean, this was a calculated thing. Yeah.
She knew I had the S. She knew I was going to go on Quibs. She knew she was going to challenge it down. She knew it. It was premeditated, and that's the reason that her word should not be on there. It was premeditated. I rest my case. Premeditated.
Okay? She's the Napoleon of Scrabble.
She's the Minority Report of Scrabble.
It was a pre-crime.
It was a pre-crime.
Yep.
She should have been arrested before the game even started. Exactly.
Too great. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to tell us about, Brett? Or?
I mean, we all got stuff.
We all got stuff. Everybody got stuff.
I got stuff.
I want to hear a story from Kat.
Oh boy.
On the spot, Kat.
That's what I would like to hear. Sorry if that's you on the spot, but
give me a topic. Give me some sort of focus.
I need an occupation,
I know, right?
a geographic location.
A plumber in Arizona with 2 kids. Go.
I mean, I'm trying to think of a sibling story to try to make this sort of a theme, because John told his fun orange juice setup story.
I'm on record.
So you have a sibling. I
have 2. So I have an older sister, Gabrielle.
Yes.
She's 10 years older than me.
Okay.
And my brother John is 7 years older. And so my brother was kind of a dick to me. He was really, I wanted to be my brother, right? Like I idolized him. And so I would just follow him because he was so cool. He was really funny. He worked on old cars. Like, of course, he's fucking cool. But I would just bug the shit out of him. And so he tortured me. He would just like tease me incessantly. And I would be like in tears and stuff. And the joke around the house was I would always say, "Shut up, John." That was sort of like my default because I had no weapons, right? I was too young to be able to.
You didn't have game at that point. I have game.
Yeah. And so my sister would end up kind of defending me if she was around because like she was much older than I was. So I didn't really have any kind of like sibling rivalry or anything. But they were both very successful people. And so that was hard because I wasn't. So anything like, anything less than, kind of, I couldn't add up to them. I was never.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're on 2 nationally syndicated podcasts.
John told me a little bit about what you do.
Oh yeah,
huge. So.
I'm a late bloomer, Brett. I'm a late bloomer.
That's appreciated.
It happens, but yeah,
it's not that late either.
Well,
you're still young.
But I mean, we did. So the game in our house, the Crimmins household, was Trivial Pursuit, and so both my parents very good with history. My siblings very smart, and I was way out of my league. Like I'm just a kid trying to compete with these adults, but we would have teams and stuff. But it was very competitive. And then when my brother-in-law came to the picture, Michael, he is a fucking genius. Talk about a smart dude. Like. He would quib you to death, bro. Like he would be like all up in your shit. So, just like the tensions was always very high in Trivial Pursuit. And I learned one thing that was really fun is that I kind of learned how to talk to adults because I had to try to keep up with my siblings and my parents. So I got to be very good about talking to adults. I was very sarcastic because my brother, I mimicked my brother's sense of humor. So I was very good at, sort of throwing some sarcasm in there. So it kind of like prepared me for social situations, even though I didn't know who, I can't even think. This is like this is the original version of Trivial Pursuit.
It's a classic.
Right.
Like that shit was hard.
Yeah, every answer was Ronald Reagan. I get it.
And
the Duchess of some bullshit. Like I have no fucking idea.
Right. The Duchess.
Genus. Yeah. It was called Genus Edition, but everybody called it Genius Edition.
Yes.
And it's like, no, there's no I.
Yeah, no, like, that shit was hard. That was not.
Yeah.
If I've played a more recent version. It's like it's all pop culture. It's super easy shit. It's it's very different.
Right, and back then there was no internet.
Yeah, no internet,
right?
Exactly. So you just took. It's the classic Seinfeld where it says "moops." It's not moop. It's more. If they made a mistake, how are you going to check that back then?
It's on the card.
Can't.
It's moops. It's moop. Okay, Bubble Boy. That's interesting. That's cool. I think we had similar, except I was the older brother, but I am very close with my younger sister as well. Growing up, she's 7 years apart from us, so it's like us two, bam, bam, like this, and then 7 years the younger sister.
Yeah, that sounds like my family actually.
Yeah.
No, just the two of us in our family.
You and your sister.
My sister.
Brett, when did you become closer with you used your younger sister against your older sister, right?
For sure. Again, I was the older brother. She's, 5, I'm 12. That's a huge difference.
It is.
So yeah, like I said, but she would also, I'd make her smell my retainer. I mean, she was just, anything I told her to do would be done. So,
right, because she fucking idolized you. I can relate to your sister for sure.
Yeah.
One time we went over to some friends of my parents and they had older sons, like much older, like they were like 16 and I was probably 5 or 6. And these guys are like, the guy goes, "Hey, put on this mask." And I'm like, okay. I put on, it was a jockstrap that actually had a cup in it. And I mean, I thought I didn't know. I hadn't had to wear one of those things. How would you know? But I put it on under my own power. That's the worst part. It's not even like they put it on me.
You weren't bullied into it. You were logic. Yeah, that's
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
it happened at me.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Let's see. Where do we riff from here?
I'm looking at some other stories. You guys can call them out if you need one more. These are the topics: Robbed in Atlanta, maggots. Denver gingerbread house.
Oh wow!
Those are the 3 or Dalai Lama, but that's a long, boring story. So those are the 3: Auburn, Alabama, maggots, or Denver gingerbread house.
Like, Kat, what are you feeling? Where are you going?
I'm feeling robbed in Alabama.
I'm feeling robbed in Alabama too. Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good to me.
Robbed in Alabama.
Let's hear it.
On tour with an artist that I manage. Played in Alabama. After the show, we were out in the front selling merch and come back into the dressing room and all of our stuff is gone. My cell phone that I bought, our money, everything, everything's gone. There's cameras everywhere. No one has seen anything. No one knows anything. Seems very suspect. We're at that venue for hours and hours after the cops come. This was when I just figured out how to do Find My Phone also. On my iPhone. So I saw my iPhone was. It was like running around downtown Alabama. And I saw it on my phone on the map. I could see it.
Wait a minute. Downtown Alabama?
Downtown fucking Alabama. Downtown Birmingham, Alabama. God damn it.
I just like downtown Alabama. I'm going to use that forever.
Oh my God. It feels like awesome. Downtown Alabama.
It kind of is. I mean,
that's why they don't let us there, John. There's a big sign, turn back. But
I drove through there once and I saw a re-elect Judge Roy Moore sign stuck up on the hill.
Wow.
And that was enough for me. We just didn't stop except for one more time for gas.
Wow.
Good call.
I'm really glad that you caught the downtown Alabama. That's going to bother me for 5 to 6 years at least.
Oh no. This is where he never speaks to you again, John.
Oh God, that's right.
If you call it downtown, do not call this downtown Alabama.
It's such a
God,
good title.
Brett, that was exactly what I thought the second I heard it. Is this episode is titled "Downtown Alabama" with Brett Radin.
So good.
Oh my God. The story does not even compare to what's going on right now, by the way. The story is I didn't find my fucking phone. That's it. That's the story. We're moving on to downtown Alabama. No, that's it.
Interview over.
I am so sorry. Please continue.
No, honestly. As I'm thinking about the story and I'm thinking about what's going on right now, this is all you needed to know. I was apparently in downtown Alabama, and that's why I didn't find my phone, I guess.
That's your problem right there.
That was my problem. Where are you calling from? Well, I didn't have my phone. It's a fake phone, but I'm calling from downtown Alabama. Yeah.
There you go. Downtown Alabama.
Yep. All right.
Yep.
So,
all right.
Anyways, we're going to leave that story right there.
Oh, John, look what you did.
I didn't mean to ruin the story.
You did a good thing. You saved the people from a moment. Yeah. So probably.
All right. Well, then what do we got? Denver gingerbread or maggots? What do we?
They're both quicker stories. The maggots is just kind of gross.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, the Denver gingerbread house is kind of like wow. Like that's.
I dig a wow.
Okay, we'll do a quick wow.
Yeah. All right. Wow me.
Okay. Again, I'm on tour. A lot of my stories start like this. I'm on tour.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
I am flying to Denver with an artist of mine and his cellist, and. Usually these days you kind of land, you get your app out, you get your car, you get your hotel. There's not a lot of setup anymore like there used to be, where you'd have to like book a whole tour in advance. You can really go on the fly these days. So we're playing a festival in Denver, and we land, and I guess our flight was super late because of storms in Denver. So we landed at 1 a.m. All of the car rental places are obviously not open at this point, except one. And my artist is very savvy. He was able to go get a vehicle, talked his way in, there's one car left, got the car. That's not really the base of the story. Got this crazy car. I'm calling promoters, calling everyone. Where can we stay? All hotels are locked. They're booked. So we're fine. We'll just drive towards where the gig is. We get into the car. We start driving. We're looking for Airbnbs, anything. Cellist, also a friend of ours, is on her Airbnb. She finds a place. Oh, just book it. Whatever it is, whatever it costs, we don't care. Just book it. Okay, we book it. We get up there. We're in high altitude too. We're talking like, I don't know, mile, whatever up plus.
Right.
We drive up. This gorgeous house. Gorgeous. It's like 4 a.m. This woman comes out. She's like, "Are you Brett?" Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, good. We have your room set. Okay. We go inside. She's like, "It's just up here. We get into this room. It's like, all right, the three of you will be staying in this room. First of all, it's 2 bunk beds. That's A. B, we come in. When I tell you there's 5,000 different gingerbread, from stuffed to porcelain to handmade to photos, just gingerbread men everywhere. We felt like someone kept an eye open all night. I guess that's what I'll say. We felt like
something
good.
Something felt wrong.
Are we going to be turned into gingerbread men?
Visitors? Exactly.
Right.
What's going on? Can I help anyone in here? Who needs help? So, Wow. So that was, so we wake up the next morning and, obviously we feel kind of crazy. We're taking lots of photos of I could share those photos with you later. They're insane. Yes. They're insane.
Please do.
They really are.
Yeah.
We go downstairs. We find our way downstairs. Breakfast is ready. Okay, that's very nice. The couple recognizes the artist that I'm with and tries to get him to buy their house. They just want out.
Okay.
Yeah, I want out of the gingerbread house too. I'm not buying the gingerbread house. Of course, you want to sell it. Obviously, we politely decline. Have our
really?
I don't know. They were not gingerbread pancakes, which was disappointing.
I mean, how do you not serve gingerbread pancakes?
It was really a miss by them. Really a miss.
It was
totally.
But yeah, we got in the car. We're kind of. No one said anything that night. Really, we didn't want to. I think no one wanted to freak each other out. We wanted to like let's just get through this thing. If we make it through the night, we can always have tomorrow to talk about this. So so that's basically what
unless we're gingerbread men.
Yeah. So the moral and the mistake of the story is plan ahead, especially when you're on tour. Oh my God!
Read the reviews on Airbnb.
Read the reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a couple years ago. I would be very curious to see if that house was still available. I can't imagine someone bought it. It wasn't an ugly house. It was a weird house. It was weird. Yeah.
Like a weird floor plan?
Kind
or
of,
just
yes. Like the outside was like 2019 and the inside was like 1964 plus gingerbread.
Right.
Okay.
Men.
I mean, I stayed at a weird like actual B&B before the days of Airbnb one time. It was like, and I didn't know anyway. I booked it with my girlfriend at the time, and we went there, and it turned out it was Gone with the Wind theme.
Oh my God.
Which was super fucking creepy. It was like
themes are creepy, right? Themes are creepy.
Yeah.
Because it borderlines on this like obsessive behavior from the other person putting the theme together. Yeah. And then you can see how long the theme has lasted. A day or two, fine, whatever. You're probably going to quit. Yeah. Years, decades? What's wrong with you?
Lots of money.
And lots of money.
Somebody lived in that house. Yeah. You know, I mean, it was a B&B, so they lived in their part of the house, and then the rest of it was booked out, but the whole thing was themed that way.
And also to think that you should be embarrassed by that. Like you shouldn't be, you shouldn't be presenting that as a part of your business. Like you should be kind of embarrassed to show people.
Especially Gone with the Wind. I mean, what is it there? I'm not going to speculate here because but I think we all can.
Sure, and I don't think you'd be far wrong. I mean, I'm not gonna disparage the owner. That B&B may still be around and open. It's been quite a while. But
what state was it? Like Mississippi, or was it? Like...
No, it was in California.
Oh,
it was near, and I'm going to even give away more. It was near Sequoia State Park.
Wow.
Or Sequoia, Sequoia National Park.
Well, I feel like that might be a little bit of a better place to have a Gone with the Wind theme. Like Deep South, like I think they're all like that, right? Basically, they don't like that without even trying. Yeah,
but they don't have stand-up cardboard cutouts of Rhett Butler, and they would just sneak up on you when you were walking around. And there was there was pink carpet in some places, and the drapes were all like antebellum kind of. Yeah,
John, that sounds amazing.
Oh,
yeah, you're really selling it.
It really sounds
the best. I know. Like, everybody's going to try to book it up now. As soon as the pandemic's over.
Yeah. Very cool.
Awesome.
Very funny. Thank you guys for letting me be silly. Very, very silly today.
Of course. Thank you for coming on and being silly. So Brett, is there anything that you need to plug? Anything you want to bring people's attention to, raise awareness of?
I mean, I'm kind of hidden on social media, but I do have fun on Instagram. So I guess if anyone felt the need to follow me and they just have to see what I'm posting for some unknown reason, I don't know why anyone would. But if you do, you really can't contain yourself. It is 13 Dr. 013. That's 13, like DR and the word zero. DRZERO. 13 Dr. 013. So I've said it 6 times, so I guess it maybe does mean something. No, it really doesn't mean anything. It really does. It doesn't. But again, if you need to see my stories from last night, like, great, go ahead. But
hey, awesome. But so there's no events that need to be plugged or anything, or you keeping that separate?
I mean, I guess we'll keep it separate. Yeah. I manage a lot of artists. You want me to go down my list? There's no way that's going to happen. That's not what this is. Not zero chance. But thank you.
Nope. Of course. Awesome.
Cool. Yeah. You guys, this was a very fun Sunday. Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad. Now, you have listened, right? You have studied and you've listened to entire episodes.
I've listened to like 5.
Okay. So you know how this ends.
Tell me.
This is where we catch him every time. We have a signature sign off on this show.
Okay.
And it's 3 letters. And at this time in history, these 3 letters may be the most important 3 letters in the whole alphabet. And they are FMP. Now, fuck. You got it right. Fuck Mike Pence.
Oh, is that what it is?
And yes. Ever since I believe it was episode 3, might have even been episode 2.
Yeah.
We have signed off. Yeah.
I am absolutely down with that.
All right. Well, then why don't you lead us in the charge? And just give us your rendition of the 3-letter sign off.
Just the 3 letters. You don't want the words, right?
You can, if you know what, dealer's choice.
I'll go FMP. FMP.
FMP.
FMP.
Thank you, Brett.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Brett.
You guys were fun. That's the beauty of Alabama. Everyone in there has robbed somebody.
I robbed Brett.
In downtown Alabama. That was me.